Hello everyone, welcome back to the new video. In the last video we discussed about the instance variables, and in this video we'll discuss about the static variables. And I guess we already know about the static variables, that they don't vary from object to object and only one copy of those variables are created because they are class level objects. And where do we prefer to declare them? We will prefer to declare them within the class directly. But just before going through the static variables, let's first go through the example of the instance variables that we discussed in our last video. So I already have a code written here for saving time. So in this I am creating a class instance variable with a constructor and an instance method. I have self.a is equal to 10 in the constructor, and self.a is equal to 20, self.b is equal to 30 inside the instance method. Let me create this class, and after running this here, I can see that in the last, when I am printing t.dict, I am just getting a 40, b 50. Why? Because I created the object. Once I created the object, wait, let me do it here. It's going to be easy to understand it here. So here I created an object t. So this is an object t. As soon as I created an object, constructor will run and it will allocate this a is equal to 10 here. A is equal to 10. And now I am calling the instance method m1. So when I am calling the instance method m1, it will check a is equal to 20. It will see if a instance variable is present or not. It's present. A is equal to 10, then it will make it 20, and b is equal to 30. B is not here, so it will create a new instance variable, b is equal to 30 here. Now after that I am creating an instance variable again with t dot a is equal to 40. A is equal to 20, it will again make it to 40, and b is equal to 50. Its b is here now 30, so now it will make it 50. So now when I am calling it in the end, a is equal to 40 and b is equal to 50. So that's what we are seeing here. A is equal to 40 and b is equal to 50. And I have already written down the points. We will just write the code today because I want to save some time, otherwise video is going to be too long. So in the first point we are going to discuss the places where we can declare the static variables and how we can declare them. First, in general, we can declare static variable anywhere, but we will prefer to declare them inside the class, and inside the class but outside any method. It's not has to be in the method, so that's where we are going to prefer to declare it. Second is, we can declare them inside the constructor using the class name. Third point is, we can declare them inside the instance method using the class name. Fourth point is, we can declare them inside the class method using class name and CLS. Fifth one is inside the static method using class name, and the last is outside the class using class name. So let's see each of these points one by one. Let me create a class test, and here I will declare a is equal to 10. So this is static variable here. Why? Because it is inside the class but outside any method. And here let me create a constructor, and inside the constructor let me create a static variable, not static, instance variable b is equal to 20. And here let me call t is equal to test, and let me call print t dot dict. So what everyone thinks is going to be the output, 10 and 20? No, let's see, it's b is equal to 20 only. Why? Because I created the object, and on the object here see t, This is the object. On the object I am calling the variables. Like, what are the variables? In the object there is only one variable, b is equal to 20. This is class level variable, it is static variable. So if I want to check what are the variables present inside the class, I can just do class dot dict, and here we can see a is equal to 10. In the class a is 10, b is not present because b is object level variable, instance variable, and a is class level variable, static variable. So that's why a is 10 here, it is present. So that's how we can declare. So this is the first point, outside the any method but inside the class directly. The second one is inside the constructor. Okay, let me do it. Class dot test, a is equal to 10, def init self, and test dot b is equal to 20. Let me again do it. Test, and here I will print test dot dict. A is equal to 10 using the first method, and b is equal to 20 using the second method. What's the second method? Inside the constructor using class name. Okay, what's the third? Inside instance method using class name. What's the class name? Test dot c is equal to Salma Hayek. It's the instance method. So to get this I have to call this. So let me call this t dot m1. After calling this, let's see now what are the different variables inside the class. A is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, and c is Salma Hayek. So this is the third way inside the instance method. Here fourth one is inside the class method. So let me create a class method, def of m2 of what's here, cls. How we are going to net a class method? With a decorator class method. How I can create it? Using the class name Penelope Cruz and cls dot e is equal to Myla Kunis. I have to call this here to use those. How can I call it? Using class name test dot m2. Let me run this. A is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, c is Salma Hayek, d is Penelope Cruz, and e is Myla Kunis. Okay, what's the next? Inside static method. So there is a decorator static method. Now the method name, that is m3. There is no argument here. Using test, because inside static method we cannot use self, cls, anything, just the class name. Test dot ef is equal to who? Megan Fox. I have to call this also here to use it. Test dot m3. I called it. Now let's check the variables. Megan Fox is also here along with the others. Last but not the least, it is last, outside the class. Outside the class, how can I use it? Using class name test dot g is equal to Joe Saldana. Here, let me run this. Joe Saldana is also here. So these are the different methods, or you can say ways, we have available to declare the static variables. Okay, so now next one is how to access the static variables. To access the static variables, we can use anything: self, class name, class, or object reference. But the standard or the preferred way is to always access them using the class name. because if we already know that using self we can access the instance variables also, so it's better to use the class name if you are using self. Then the code reviewer or whoever is going to use your code, they might get confused like what are we trying to access here using the self. So it's always a good way to use the class name to access the static variables. Okay, let me do it here. Let me show this. Class test a is equal to 10 and def of init of self. Here I want to access that. I can access it using self.a. I can access it using test.a. Let me do this. t.test. Let me just run this. As soon as I created the object, constructor will run, and in the constructor we are accessing the static variable. First is using self and second is using test, so we are getting 10 and 10. Okay, now here let me try to print t dot date. What everyone thinks is going to be the answer. 10. Let's see. Nothing. Why? Because this is again static variable, class level of variable, and here we are trying to check variables for the object. In the object there are no variables present, so that's why it's a blank dictionary. So I access them inside the constructor. Now let me access them inside the method, instance method. Here print self.a and again print test.a. What do you think is going to be the output here? Let me just remove this right for now. Yeah, 10 and 10. Why this is not coming? Because we have not called it. Let me call this t.m1 also. We can see 10 10 10 10 4 times. Okay, let me do it inside the class method. Def of m1 m2 of cls. How we can access it? Using the cls.a and class name test.a. To use it we have to call it test.m2. Let's see. Here we can see it's again 10 10, it's 6 times. Now inside the static method, at the rate static method, def of m3 and print test.a. We have to call it again here to use it. Here it's 10 10 10 10 10 10. That's how we can use it, and we can access them directly outside also. How we can access them directly outside? I will just do print test.a print t.a. We already know that we can call them using the object reference also. Here we can see that it's again 2 more times 10 10 is coming. So these are the different ways we have available to access the static variables, but please prefer to use the class name so that nobody get confused what we are trying to do here. Okay, so now is how to update the static variables, and we can update the static variables either by using class name or CLS only. We cannot use self and object reference to update the static variables. So what's the example here? Here class is equal to test, a is equal to 10, and I will create a class method def of m1 of CLS. Here I am making CLS dot a is equal to 20. And I am creating t is equal to test, and I am calling test dot m1, and then I am trying to print test dot a. Answer is 20. Let's see what's happening here. I created the class with static variable 10 and then a class method m1. So I created an object t. So this is an object t, and as after the object creation I am calling the class method. Oh sorry, here class level variable 10 is created. After that I am calling a class method m1 in which I am saying class a is equal to cls.a is equal to 20. It will check if a is present or not at a class level. It is present, a is equal to 10. So now it will modify this 10 to 20, and now when I am calling test.a it will direct to this 20, and hence we are seeing 20 here. 20 is the output here. Okay, so now I am creating a static method def of m2 and test dot a is equal to 30 here. So now I am calling here test dot m2. I guess everybody knows what's going to happen. After that it will check a is there or not. A is here 20, but now we are calling that static method, that's 30. It will change it to 30, and now our output is going to be 30 here. So that's how we can update the static variables. Okay. So here I am creating one more class test. A is equal to 10. Def of m1 of self dot a is equal to 888. T is equal to test t dot m1 and print test dot a. What's going to be the output here? Let's understand this. Here I created the object t, so this is my object t. A is equal to 10, so that is class level, a is equal to 10. After that I am calling the method, instance method m1, in which I am creating the instance variable. So is there an instance variable a present here? No. So it will create an instance variable a with values 888. And after that I am calling test.a. So I am using test.a, so it will refer to the class level variable, because here we can see we can access them using class level. It's mentioned, I mentioned it somewhere, yeah, here. So once we are going to call it, it will always point to the static variable. So here the output is going to be 10. And what if I try to print t.a? That's object, that's an, if it's print t.a here, then t is an object level. It will check on the object if the instance variable is present or not. It is present. And what's the value? 888. If it's not present, then it will go to this static variable a is equal to 10. It's present here, a is equal to 888. So now it will just print the a is equal to 888. Let's see. Here I will make it b is equal to 800. After using this, instance variable a is not present, so now it will point it to this static variable a is equal to 10. So now when we print t.a, let's remove this, it will point to 10 because instance variable is not present. I guess everybody understand it. For object, it will always prefer the instance variable. If it's not there, then only it will go to the static variable. Let me create a new class test, and x is equal to 10 here, and def init of self, and self dot y is equal to 20, t1 is equal to test, t2 is equal to test, and here I am trying to print t1 dot x comma t1 dot y, and in the next line I am trying to print t2 dot x comma t2 dot y, and now I am doing t1 dot x is equal to 888 and t1 dot y is equal to 999, and then again I am trying to print it. So what's going to be the output here? Let's see. I will come here, I will do it like this. Let's try to understand what's happening here. I created the class, okay, I created the object t1, this is t1, and this is another object t2. X is equal to 10, so that is class level, so x is equal to 10, that is present to both. And there's a constructor. As soon as objects are created, constructor will execute. So y is equal to 20, y is equal to 20 for this, and y is equal to 20 for this also. So here I am doing t1 dot x. It will check if x is here. So there is no instance variable. So if there is no instance variable, it will check if the static variable, it's the static variable, so it will come 10. t1 dot y, there is an instance variable y, yes, it is 20. t2 dot x, there is an instance variable x, no, so here it is 10. And instance variable y, there is y, so it is yes, 20. So let's try to execute it. Let me comment this out. Okay, it is 10 and 20. What's happening next? t1 dot x is equal to 888. Here it is object. It will check if the instance variable x is present or not. It's not present, so it will create x is equal to 888 here. And t1 dot y is equal to 999. It will check y instance variable is present 20. It will make it 999 here. So now I am calling t1 dot x, t1 dot y. What's x and y? Both instance variable are present. So it's 888, 999. t2 dot x, for t2 instance variable x is not present, so it will go to the static 10, and y instance variable is present 20, so it's 888, 999 and 1020. Let's run it. 888, 999 and 1020. So that's what's happening here. Okay, so now if instead of t1 dot x, let me make it test dot x. First it's going to be same. What's going to happen in the next, in this test, after making it test? I make it test here. What's going to happen now? Let's clean everything. Let's see. I'm just explaining the next ones, not this one, because nothing is going to change here. I created two objects, t1 and t2. t1, t2, x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. Constructor coming from the constructor instance variable. So now test dot x is equal to 888 using the class name. So let's see if my logic is correct or not. Test dot x, it will check x is 10, so it will make it 888. Because we are using class name. And t1 dot y is 999. t1 dot y is 20 here, it will make it 999. Now t1 dot x, there is an instance variable, no, so it will go to the static variable, so it's 888 t1 dot x. t1 dot y instance variable, yes, so it's 999. t2 dot x, no, so 888. t2 dot y is there, yes, 20. Let's try to run this. Yes, 888, 999, 888, 20. Okay, if it's, let me make it t1 dot x, and here I will make it test dot x. What's going to happen here? Let's see this also. Again 2 t1 t2 t1 t2 x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, y is equal to 20. t1 dot x is equal to 888. There is nothing. X is equal to 888. No instance variable, that's why it will create it. t1 dot y 999. Instance variable 20, yes, make it 999. Here test dot x. So I am calling on class level. Test dot x class level present, yes, so it is 10. Y is 999. Instance is, yes, it is object level. t2 dot x, nothing, so it will go up 10. Y, yes, 10, 20. Let's see here if this is correct or not. 10 999, 10 20, 10 999, 10 20. Yeah, so these are the, you can say, some of the things that we should take care of. If there is no instance variable, then it will go to the static variable when we are calling through the object. Okay, next is one more example, class dot text. X is equal to 10, def init of self dot y is equal to 20, and def of m1 of self dot x is equal to 888, and self dot y is equal to 999. Here I am creating t1 is equal to test, and t2 is equal to test, t1 dot m1, and again I am doing this, I am printing this. So what's happening here? Let's copy this and try to see what's happening here. Okay, I created two objects, t1 t2. This is t1, this is t2. t1 t2, x is 10, x is 10. Constructor, so it will give y to both 20, and y is equal to 20. So after that I am calling m1. m1 is self dot x is equal to 888. I am calling it on t1. X is 888. X is not here, so it will create it. X is equal to 888. Y is 999. Y is 20, so it will make it 999. X dot y, they are both here. 888, 999. t2 dot x and y. X is not here, so it will take it 10 from here, and y is equal to 20. Why it's 10? Because there is no instance variable, so it will point to the static variable. Let's run this and see 888, 999, and 10, 20. Okay, in this, let me copy paste it here, and now let me add one more @class method def of m2 of cls. Let me create cls.x is equal to 888 here, and cls.y is equal to 999 here, and t1.test, and here I am calling test.m2, and here I want to know the same. So what's happening here? I guess everybody knows or not. Let me go through this. Again, two objects t1, t2, x is equal to 10, t1, t2, self.y is equal to 20, because constructor okay, y is equal to 20 and y is equal to 20. I am calling test.m2. Test.m2 means cls.x is equal to 888. X is here, okay, it will make it 888. cls.y, there is any stat class level? No, so it will make y is equal to 999. I am calling t1.x. X is here, no, it will go to x on the static var 888. t1.y, instance variable y is present, yes, y is 20. t2.x, t2, x is here, no, 888. t2.y, instance variable y is here, yes, 888, 20, 888, 20, let's see. Okay, so now let me copy this and here modify this to test.y. What's going to be the output? 999. If it's test.y, then it's a class level, and a class level y is there, 999, yes, so that's why it's 888, 999 for t2. Okay, so now let's see how we can delete the static variables. We can delete static variables. If we have to delete them anywhere, then we can use del name of the class and then the name of the variable that we want to delete, and specifically inside the class method we can use del keyword cls dot variable name that we want to delete. Okay, let me create a class test, and then a is equal to 10. Let's first see at the rate class method once, and def of m1 of cls here, and del of cls dot a, test dot m1, and print test dot, what's going to be the output here? Blank list, I guess, because I'm calling m1. Okay, let's see. Not blank, I mean a is not going to be there. Yep, a is not there. Why? Because we are calling this method m1, and here we are deleting the variable a, so after that it's not going to be present there. Let's see the other things. Other places, a is equal to 10, def init self, and here I am creating test.b is equal to 20, and I am deleting test.a. After that, let me use t is equal to test and print test dot underscore underscore dict. How many going to be there? I created the object, so instance, so this constructor will run, so it will create b is equal to 20 and it will delete a, so it's only b. We can see here b 20. Okay, now let me create instance method. Here I am creating test dot c is equal to 30 and del test dot b. Let me call this method. T is equal to m1. Sorry, t dot m1. Let's run this. So it's only C here. Why it's only C here? Because we are calling this instance method m1. When we are calling it, C will create and we will delete B. We will delete B, so that's why only C is here. So inside the instance method we can do it like this. Let's do it using the class name, class method. We already know that. Def of m2 of cls dot d is equal to 40 and test dot e is equal to 50 and del cls. I already saw using cls, so let's use test dot c. Let's run this. Let's call this also test dot m2 and let's run this. D40 E50 to D40 and E50. C is not here because we call this method and here we are deleting C. I guess at the rate static method def of m3. Everybody knows what I'm going to do here. Test E, B, C, D, E, F is equal to 60. Which one do you want to delete? Let's delete E. Test dot E. Sorry, not R, E. And let me call this test dot M3 here. And the output is D and F. Why? Because we deleted E here after calling this, and so D is left and F is left. That's how we can delete the, you can say, static variables. I guess this video is already long and we discussed how to declare the static variables, how to access them and how to delete them, how to update them. In the next video we will try to make a small program and try to implement everything all together and see how it goes. I hope everyone learned something new. Have a wonderful day. I will see you later. Take care. Bye.